Sick Harrison Price for Monday, October 6, 2025. We're a presentation of Bet365. We're coming to you from the Pacific Toyota Dealer Studio here at the historic Wall Centers. Visit shoptoyota.ca or your local Pacific Toyota dealer. Today, Matt Sakaris alongside Blake Price, four-time Juno Award winner Mike Rogerson, hitting switches, conducting things with interns, Graciela Cruz Flores, and Elijah Ford. Big show coming up, big week ahead.
Roster
Vancouver
is set.
Sports as the Vancouver Canucks begin play in season 25-26. More winning on the weekend from BC sports teams, and of course everything pointing forward to Thursday's big home and regular season opener against the Calgary Flames.
The Seattle Seahawks are the only reason we didn't have a perfect weekend, I think, for the most part. Like even the Mariners, they dropped
some
one.
would say the Mariners.
But they got their split. I mean, they're alive. They're not behind the eight ball.
Can you imagine the M's up 2-0? Seahawks having won. Everybody won.
Dominating wins for the Whitecaps and Lions and Jays. Mm-hmm. Like there's domination.
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 It's great though. Like, I mean, this city has experienced so much sporting heartbreak.
Yeah, it's sort of hard to believe right now.
It's incredible to see teams of either based here or of local interest doing so well.
Yeah, a lot of fun.
Indeed. Start with our Redwoods Golf Course poll question. What are your expectations for Braden Coots? You can vote plays 9 NHL games, plays half the season, plays the full season, or zero expectations. Do so at the Sick Harrison Price X and YouTube channels. This after the 18-year-old makes it through final cuts this weekend. In a moment, Blake's going to explain to you why the 9.5 game or half season thresholds are important. We put zero expectations down there for a couple of reasons. Either you just don't want to hoist any kind of expectations on this kid, or you just don't know. You are unfamiliar with his game and don't have an informed opinion, and quite frankly, that's okay too. We are all still learning Braden Coots here in the early going of his nascent NHL career.
I've been pretty clear on this that I don't think Coots is here past the 9-game threshold. And people have been saying, oh, why not? He's earned it, blah, 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 blah. You know how many 18-year-olds have earned it around the National Hockey League? Many have. And they don't get the call because it just makes more sense for their own personal development and for the development of the team and for the salary cap structure of the team and all of that for the 18-year-old to go back for one more year. In Canucks history now, we are at 8. Coots will be the 8th 18-year-old to play a game for the Vancouver Canucks. And many of those, like a Garth Butcher, played 5 games.
Yeah.
You know, like
Do you have the full list in front of you? Because I was familiar. In fact, it was going to be the Jeff Merrick Easter egg on Friday. We had a technical issue right at the end of the Merrick interview, but the 4 18-year-olds to score a goal for the Vancouver Canucks: Cam Neely, the youngest, Trevor Linden, Peter Nedved, and Jim Sandlak was the trick answer, or at least the uncommon answer that I was throwing at you. I have since learned that Garth Butcher played 5 games as an 18-year-old. Who else?
Rob Murphy, and J.J. Daigneault, all as 18-year-olds.
Yep. And if he does score here at somewhere along the way, he'll be the 5th 18-year-old and the 20th teenager to score a goal for the Vancouver Canucks in their history, and would be the first since Virtanen or McCann.
So, again, traditionally, folks, NHL teams, despite the fact that they might find that Coots is the better choice on a given night to help them win that hockey game, better than the other guy next to him, the 27-year-old, whoever that name is, or in this case, maybe a Teddy Bluger, 30-something-year-old. But that doesn't matter. If he's playing 9 minutes to help the Vancouver Canucks per game, they know long-term that's not helpful for the organization. That this player playing 22 minutes for the Seattle Thunderbirds, playing first power play unit, all of that is more beneficial. That 1 or 2 years down the road, Coots is a better player doing that than he is playing 8 minutes a game and helping them in the here and now. It's a tough decision to make. They don't enjoy making that decision because they might, in their heart of hearts, know, hey, we're actually better. These are 18 better skaters if Coots is amongst them right now. But they still, more often than not, the vast majority of the time, say, nope, we're sending that junior player back down for his 18-year-old season. If he's 19, the equation is completely different. And especially next year again, they could send that player down to the American League. So that it completely changes once this player is 19. But right now, no.
New rule in the CBA effective next season. You will be allowed to assign one 19-year-old coming from the Canadian Hockey League to your AHL team. Right now, Braden Coots is ineligible to play with the Abbotsford Canucks based on the terms of the current collective agreement. But everybody recognized that there was a missing ingredient here for that mature 19-year-old who probably isn't serving himself all that well by going back and dominating junior hockey yet again, and would be best served by playing against men in the professional ranks. The NHL, the NHLPA, and the CHL, to their wisdom, agreed on all of that. So next year, Braden Coots would be a AHL eligible player.
Let's run down the thresholds one more time.
Yeah, 9 games.
If he plays a 10th game, he takes
his 10th game. That's not 10th. The Vancouver Canucks 10th game.
He plays a 10th game for himself. He drops the opening year off of his ELC contract.
Correct.
So that's why teams are reticent, because they like that cheap talent. If he can slide it forward one more year and have him begin that ELC next year,
although there is a counterintuitive theory that
there is.
having burning that year isn't the worst thing, because then you get to a scenario where you can negotiate with the kid a little earlier on a long-term extension. They probably don't have the big totality of stats to merit the massive paydays going. So there is a world where people think maybe you can get the player cheaper on a long-term extension by burning that first ELC with a 10th game.
You get the kid to commit to an 8-year deal based on 2 years of evidence. Meanwhile, if he's got a third year of evidence, you got to pay more money. The half season, 40 games or less, preserves his years of free agency. So an accrued year. Remember, you are eligible for UFA status after 7 years of service, or you turn 27. And if he plays a 41st NHL game this year, that means his first year en route to those 7 is on the books. Yeah. And you'd like to postpone
a free agent at 25, 26 as opposed to 27. Mm-hmm.
So it's why a lot, for a super high end, for a first overall pick that maybe is a first overall pick in a down year of the draft, but it's still good enough to play in the NHL. You play him 25 games, you send him to the World Juniors, you bring him back, and you keep him in the NHL, but under 41 games to preserve that free agency year.
I voted 0 expectations, and rare is the day on this show where I don't really take a firm position. But here's the thing. I mean, I wouldn't expect an 18-year-old to hang the whole season or even half the season. Mm-hmm. But the Canucks are so thin at center, and especially right-handed centers. He's the only one. His game is so mature. I mean, I can see a world where he's playing off adrenaline and all the good tidings here and goes out and has a banger 9 games, gets kept, but then gets sent to Canada's World Junior camp or even down to the Seattle Thunderbirds at some point before the midway mark of the season. I suppose I see a world where he's serviceable enough that he is with the Canucks for the entirety of the year. I could see him getting sent back down. I am just so 6s and 7s on this. Have really
6, 7? Oh, wow, you're so hip.
What do you mean?
I'm not explaining it. 6'7" is a phenomenon. I'll let you do your own Google research on it.
I mean the English expression to be mixed up.
I used that in a MLS game the other day, and Cammy Granado texted me. He's like, "Oh, you're so hip with the 6 and 7s." I was like, "What? The what?" And that's how I found out about it. So there you go. Anyhow,
is it profane? Is it rude?
No,
it
really means nothing, but everybody's saying it, like a lot of fans.
Anyways. I don't know what to expect here, quite honestly, and so that's how I voted.
Here's the the word of wisdom here. Shane Wright, we've seen down in Seattle. Not only as an 18-year-old did he make the team past opening night, he scored a goal. He had a goal and an assist as an 18-year-old. They sent him back down. Comes back as a 19-year-old. Guess what? Again, plays 8 games. They send him back down. That season, guys, 4 goals in 8 games for Shane Wright. And they still said, no, you know what? We're going to send you down. So, no matter what Cootes does here in these opening 8 or 9 games, sometimes teams still make a very firm decision that right now, for this player, he's better off going down a level.
The expression 6'7", a popular teen slang term for the number 67. The primary purpose of the phrase is its lack of meaning.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Popularized by teens in TikTok, often with hand motions. There isn't a concrete meaning behind it, as that is the point of the trend. However, some interpretations connect it to rapper Skrilla's song "Doot Doot," or a basketball player who is 6'7".
I never want to hear you say doot again.
The expression gained popularity through online memes and videos, especially on TikTok. It is often accompanied by an up and down hand motion. Is that this?
I don't know. We have to move on. I'm getting
Why is Mike wincing? Why is Mike wincing?
I don't know what it means either.
Do Graziella and Elijah know what it means?
Guaranteed. These are young folk.
All of us right
yes. Now. They're like, man, these people are old.
So we'll keep it 6'7" on the show here today.
I don't think that worked, but okay.
I'd like to keep it 6'7" on the golf course tomorrow. We're going to the Redwoods, playing around.
6'7",
yeah, I know what 67 means on the golf course. And hey, if I have more lessons with the pro Craig, there could be a world where I get there. We're a long way off, but Craig, that's the goal now, buddy. 6'7". And they've got private and semi-private lessons available for your junior, ages 6 to 16. Set your children up for the sport of a lifetime there at the Redwoods. They have the heated and covered range. They have the practice fairway bunker, the chipping green, the putting green, plus extraordinary instruction from Craig and Vince and the team. If you have a team building or networking event you want to host, how about the Redwoods? Check them out. The custom corporate package that can include the lessons as well, even a food and beverage component afterwards. Go to redwoods-golf.com/instruction.
If your scores in your first 2 holes are 6 and 7,
that's more likely.
I'm taking a photo of the card.
Exactly. An expression relating to nothing.
Yeah.
Is this what our children are doing these days? Like, can we not do something a little more constructive, people?
Yeah.
People do know the British expression, though. I'm 6s and 7s. You're confused. You're mixed up.
Yeah, it's popular old play-by-play guy. I used it again earlier this season.
Our top story brought to you by Yellow Dog Brewing, Neighborhood Brewing, Foolish Winery. Moving right along.
Mm-hmm. Please.
You may hate me on this one.
Probably.
Cootes, there it is.
Oh. Wow.
I'm seeing that online on my line. I'm seeing that on social.
We can't get to a different phrase? Like is
well, but I think people like the song and want to bring it back after 2.5 years of no Bruce.
Yeah. Cootes, there it is. Wow.
Oh, Cootes, there it is. The Canucks keep the 18-year-old rookie first-rounder Braden Coots past Sunday's cuts. Plan to dress him in Thursday's home and season opener against the Calgary Flames at Rogers Arena. That's what John Shannon reports. John will join us on the program here in a matter of moments. As mentioned, there have been 19 teenagers and 4 18-year-olds to score a goal for the Vancouver Canucks so he could join those illustrious lists, and they are illustrious when it comes to the 18-year-olds. The right shot center from suburban Edmonton was a standout for the Seattle Thunderbirds in the WHL last season, was selected 15th overall at June's entry draft in Los Angeles. He would be the first 18-year-old since Peter Nedved in 1990 to play for the Vancouver Canucks. And ironically, both were first-round picks and members of the Seattle Thunderbirds.
True. Yeah.
Nedved was a sensation, a revelation. Do you remember the early days of Nedved?
Yeah.
And this is the pre-internet era, everybody, as we continue to date ourselves, where there was great mystery about that foreign player, right? Maybe you saw them at the World Juniors or the World Championships, but very few in the hockey world sort of knew the games of some of these highly drafted European kids coming over to North America for the first time, and Peter Nedved was absolutely amongst them.
Well, he wore a number in the 90s. He wore a
That's the other thing.
Wore a Jofa helmet. There was Gretzky comparisons, not necessarily expectations, but comparisons at the very least. He was a skinny kid too, much like Gretzky was. There was a lot of high hopes. People were, despite the fact he was just fine as an NHL player, especially even in the early years, there was disappointment though. I think the fact that he kind of looked like Gretzky made people think he should be Gretzky, and that was never going to be the case.
He was bigger than Gretzky. It was taller, certainly.
Yes.
It was 16 points, 10 goals in 61 games for Peter Nedved in his first season as a Vancouver Canuck. Should also mention, he turned 19 2 months into the season.
Yeah.
So he played an itty-bitty time.
We're being specific, though.
As an 18. Yeah, we're being specific. Went on to have a very good NHL career, including a 99-point season, played nearly 1,000 games, scored 700-plus points. But, yeah, probably didn't live up to draft billing as a number 2 overall who people thought was the next coming of European superstar. I don't think he quite achieved that level. And while this is a remarkable achievement for the young man Cootes, there's certainly some important context here to note. As we know, the Vancouver Canucks are not blessed with great talent or depth at center. They set off into this summer and offseason to add that second-line center. President of Hockey Operations Jim Rutherford was so confident and so honest, if you will, about the needs there that he even said it would be more expensive not to get that player. Well, the market was mostly locked during the summer. Wasn't a ton of trades that people anticipated. In fact, it wasn't even the free agent spending frenzy that many anticipated. And so the Canucks didn't get that piece. Look, Cootes started this camp as either the 5th or the 6th center on the depth chart, depending on where you want to put Max Sasson positionally. Sasson sent down to Abbotsford over the course of the weekend. No waivers required there. So Cootes had a shorter pathway to the NHL with fewer guys to jump. And, of course, Teddy Bluger does have a knee problem here. He did not skate at practice on Sunday. Assistant coach Scott Young saying he was a little banged up. And so
I think that is it. And I think that's probably why there was certainty from John Shannon as well that it would be Thursday. I'm going to guess that his source was saying, yes, Bluger can't go on Thursday, so Cootes is definitely playing. I think we can connect those two dots. And then past that, we'll have to see because, Teddy Bluger's a pretty useful piece of this team. I mean, you never say never. But again, I'll just harken back to what I just said about Shane Wright. 4 goals in 8 games, and they still sent him down. So you can draw up all these sorts of scenarios, but it's a long, long season, and they hope it's a long, long career for Braden Coots. And so there could be a shocking decision still made down the stretch. But, hey, an opening night that he's never going to forget. This is an 18-year-old kid who's going to be dressed in the National Hockey League for a game worth 2 points in the standings, and it's going to be a fabulous night. And I hope the team has a measure of success so that he gets to have that bit of goosebumps. Celebrating an NHL win on home ice would be something else for this kid. And all of these experiences will go forward with him and make him a better NHL player no matter what decisions they decide to make on the player. And again, I'm pretty sure he's not going to be playing more than 9 games. Doubly sure, and he's not playing 41 plus, but we will see. Never know.
You didn't learn your lesson.
On?
You said 0% chance he made the team when I first threw this out to you a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
And now you're saying you're doubly sure he's not going to play the 41 games.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you continue to speak in absolutes when you have already lost on an absolute with this guy?
Well, I think we were speaking on merit. We can't account for catastrophic injuries to pile up for the Vancouver Canucks on the depth, for depth players. And so that's what I was speaking of overall game plan. And I think the fact that the road became paved for him, given the injury situation, adds an asterisk to the proceedings. I don't think that extends to the 10-game threshold or especially the 41-game threshold. I think they take bigger actions if injuries become a bigger concern past that point. Like the acquisition of a player.
I just don't want to limit him. For all we know, Blake, this could be a wonder kid, a savant. A kid who understands the way the game is played at the NHL level and is able to hang despite his youth, despite his slender stature. I, too, would be surprised, as I mentioned earlier. But you're seeing teams and you're seeing some coaches who have more and more time for talent over age. The phrase, talent knows no age has been more commonplace these days. Anyways, I'm with you, Blake, in terms of I would be surprised, but I wouldn't use terms like doubly sure.
So last year, first round picks, how many went past the 9-game barrier?
Well, last year would have been Macklin Celebrini.
Mm-hmm.
Who was second overall now? Hit me.
Artem Levshunov.
Right, who did not. Did he get a cup of coffee and then he got sent
back? He got 18
down?
games. He got 18 games.
Okay. Most at the beginning or end of the year for him. No, he was at Michigan State, wasn't he? So it would have been at the end. Seneca didn't play. Demidov finally came over and played
2 games
towards the end of the year, though.
Yeah.
Jet Luchenko, of course, we had mentioned him as sort of being the model here because Luchenko was the 13th overall pick
but just
last year
4
for
games.
Philadelphia. Got the 4 games. Parekh got into a game late. Did Buiam in Minnesota get into a game late? After
I think playoffs only.
He was a college guy. Right. That's right. So that was it.
Nobody. The answer is nobody beyond Celebrini and Levshunov. So the first and second overall picks. How many second rounders played games last year? None. How many third rounders? Nobody else in the draft played games. Mm-hmm. That's how rare it is.
Yeah. Previous year it was Bedard. Did Carlson play? Fantilli? Yeah, so that's not bad.
1, 2, 3 though.
Right.
Right.
And
Zach Benson.
Well, Benson.
Yeah.
Benson at 13 overall.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyways, rare, but you got to pull for him. And the other thing is, I've loved the kids' answers here. I've loved the kids' deportment each and every time we've seen him before cameras and microphones. Mm-hmm. I get the sense the stage isn't too big for him. We'll see if the games get too big for him because, needless to say, there is a mighty jump from preseason hockey to regular season hockey when you're playing for keeps.
I hope he is just eating so much. I hope he's just continuing to take in the calories. Because
what 18-year-old boy do you know that doesn't?
Yeah, but
so
whatever
much.
he needs to double whatever he thinks he's doing.
Lots and lots of pasta.
They just burn it off.
Lots and lots of kale.
Kale.
You're on the West Coast here, kid.
Okay.
You're going to eat a lot of kale.
Yellow Dog's going to be releasing its first fresh hop beer of the season tomorrow.
Those in moderation, Braden.
Yeah. Well, he's actually not legal. Those completely off the table. We're going to be Celebrating responsibly, don't you know? Alpha Dog's Fresh Hop Pale Ale. Strong hints of grapefruit, melon, lime, followed by the crisp mouthfeel. Hoppy bitterness is there as well. It'll have you begging for more. It gets dropped tomorrow from Yellow Dog. Again, the Alpha Dog Fresh Hop Pale Ale.
The Canucks demoted defensemen Victor Mancini and Tom Verlander to Abbotsford to get down to the 23-player limit by today's roster set deadline. Of course, that doesn't mean they can't make adjustments following today and in advance of the Thursday opener. We are saying that because both Derek Forbert and Pierre-Olivier Joseph are nursing ailments and did not practice yesterday. So, should someone not be able to go Thursday, even if you have a question about one of them, could you see Mancini recalled as insurance or, in worst-case scenario, in the lineup of neither can play? They have said Forbert is a matter of load management after taking him out in the third period of that penultimate preseason game last week. Hasn't skated with the group since, but they are adamant that it's just load management in the case of Forbert. In the case of Joseph, it is a groin tweak. And here's the thing. Even if you're absolutely convinced that Forbert is good to go on Thursday, if you don't think Joseph can go, you do have to allow for the possibility that somebody gets food poisoning, sick, an injury crops up during the day, which would pathway for a Mancini back to the Vancouver Canucks as insurance.
I would bet fair sums that Mancini is back with this team.
Before Thursday.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because both of these veteran players have not been skating much. This is your opener. You want everybody hitting the ground running. So if one of those two guys, and maybe it needs to be both, because as you say, Mancini can get called up and not play as well. I would say that one of them certainly has to be on the ice and practicing full bore tomorrow for me to have confidence that that player is ready to play in the lineup on Thursday, because you're dropping them in the day before after a week off. I don't know. That doesn't sound like you're putting your best foot forward there on opening night. So we'll see. Practice tomorrow will give us some of these answers, obviously.
Yes, it's a team day off today. The Canucks also put Nils Höglander on injured reserve. Demoted center Nils Oman, who cleared waivers, and Nikita Tolopilo, who did not on Saturday, so they're going down to the Abbotsford Canucks. And Surrey's Arshdeep Bains makes the team and skates in prime real estate at Sunday's practice. Again, we're missing Nils Höglander, and we're missing Teddy Bluger from yesterday's practice, but here's how they lined it up. Jake DeBrusk with Liz Pettersson and Brock Besser. They have been together all preseason long. That is your number one line with your two best winger goal scorers centered by your best offensive playmaker, Philip Hedl, in the middle between Connor Garland, and there's Arshdeep Bains on left wing of that line. Braden Coots in the middle between Jonathan Lekkerimäki and Evander Kane. Lekkerimäki's a story here too we'll get to in a moment. Atu Ratu between Drew O'Connor and Kiefer Sherwood. Linus Karlsson skating as the extra forward, which was interesting. It looks, just by evaluating this, Blake, that Arshdeep Bains outperformed Linus Karlsson when it was all said and done.
Yeah, and neither blew down the door in terms of productivity. 3 points for Bains in the end in the preseason, which is better than Karlsson. I wish it was Karlsson.
How many did Coots have in the preseason?
He had 4, 2 and 2.
Okay.
I wish Karlsson had won that, because I think he's got an NHL,
building off that sensational playoff run for the.
He's got an NHL touch around the net, obviously, but doesn't move super well, so that's going to always dog him. Bains moves really well, but the bottom line has ceased to be there thus far through a quarter of a season in the National Hockey League. So. I hope he proves all of us wrong here, all of the doubters wrong, and is able to find a way to get involved. Because at that lofty assignment there with 2 surefire NHL forwards, you have to be a part of the solution. And I also can't help but think that Filipino's kind of looking like, you want me to prove that I'm a second line center and and I've got Arshdeep Bains here? He's going to have to make Bains better, I guess.
Yeah. Or things can change between this practice lineup and how they line it up on Thursday.
I mean, of
This
course,
is
they
by no means set in stone.
No.
As for Lekkerimäki, he scores twice Friday against Edmonton in the preseason finale. And what I loved about both goals is not only the shot and the release, and those are world class, ladies and gentlemen. We've talked about this for the last 2 to 3 weeks. You have maybe one guy who can shoot the puck like Jonathan Lekkerimäki does. And for a team that was already looking like it was going to need some goals even before the Nils Höglander injury, Jonathan Lekkerimäki is a natural goal scorer. And we were wondering, look, when things were going poorly for Lekkerimäki in preseason, we were saying you're going to need him at some point this season, no doubt. And then things turned for Jonathan Lekkerimäki. And in the second week of preseason, he looked a whole lot better, showed off that goal-scoring touch. But what I liked almost as much as the shot and the release, which are just A1, the way he found himself that space in the offensive zone on both goals.
Yeah.
Because the first one starts with him dumping it in at the blue line, and there's a battle for a puck, and he's just sort of slyly laying there on the off wing, and sure enough, here comes the puck, and he finishes. Great pass by Quinn Hughes on the second goal, but once again, he finds himself that soft space in the offensive zone, predatory, and is able to finish when the puck comes to him. That's such a game changer to the Vancouver Canucks season. If this guy can routinely do that and become something in the order of a 15, 20, 25 goal scorer in his first NHL campaign.
And this is where we have to, I think, correct people when they say preseason means nothing. No, preseason means something for some players. And for a guy like Jonathan Lekkerimäki,
for young players.
Yeah, like he needed to know that he could do that, and he needed to remind himself he's capable of doing that against quote-unquote NHL competition, even if it's only half the roster on a lot of these nights in the preseason. That does a boatload of help for a guy like Jonathan Lekkerimäki. So I look forward, I think he should be a full-time NHL player this year. I think, as we talk about the future of Cootes, I think Lekkerimäki, unless there is just a profound drought that gets just too long to weather, I think you keep him up here. And there are nights he's going to watch.
No,
but I think he stays with the Vancouver Canucks and works on being an NHL goal scorer. I think he can do what he's done in the preseason. He can do that at the AHL level.
I think there comes a point where if he's struggling or if he's in fourth line duty, you have to ask yourself whether he's better served playing big minutes in Abbotsford. But so long as he's a top 9 forward, and they had him as a top 9 forward at practice yesterday, I'm with you. I think he's got to stay here because I think you're going to need his goals. Connor Garland gets the overtime winner, 2-point night. Nice to see that from Garland on Friday evening. Of course, he wasn't one of the most used guys in preseason. Evander Kane, Connor Garland didn't get a whole lot of run here in the preseason. Veterans, understandable. Other thing we should say, Elias Pettersson bounced back from that big hit he took from former Vancouver Canuck Vasily Podkolzin on Friday. He was on the left side of the third defense pair at practice yesterday with Victor Mancini. Of course, as mentioned, Forbert, Joseph weren't practicing yesterday. So it very much looks like the defense pairs that many of us forecasted at the beginning of this training camp. Hughes Hronek, Marcus Pettersson with Tyler Myers, and then Elias Pettersson alongside Derek Forbert. DPD was on the left side yesterday. We'll see how that shakes out, if Forbert's going to play the right side or if DPD had played some right side in camp as well. Moving off the Canucks, there was a player signed a contract extension in the NHL
was just
today.
you're talking about Jake Wallman. Jake Wallman did get a new deal.
Jake Wallman got a really
deal.
big long-term deal from the Edmonton Oilers, and if
they
Jake
signed somebody
Wallman
else too.
had any designs on his contract extension being his day in the sun,
he's going to be profoundly disappointed.
He picked the wrong day. Conor McDavid re-signs with the Oilers for just 2 years at just $12.5 million per season. Exactly what he's being paid this year in the final year of his existing and expiring deal, Blake Price.
Keeping him as the second highest paid player on the team behind Leon, who makes $14 million per year for perpetuity.
How magnanimous of him.
It's an interesting gesture by Conor McDavid.
Well, it looks like it was a change of mind, Blake, because there was so much speculation and consternation in northern Alberta about the Oilers captain perhaps playing his final season in the Alberta capital and saying that he wanted to assess the club's chances of winning a Stanley Cup. It seems he considered playing out the final year of this contract and didn't want the noise that would have been associated at every step along the way this season. So he re-signs, he makes that story goes away. He takes what, $7-8 million less per season than what his market value would bear, given the market reset by that Kirill Kaprizov $17 million a year contract extension last week. He's given the Edmonton Oilers their very best chance to win a Stanley Cup over the next few years here by supplying enough cap dollars to create that championship winning team that he wants to see. He's put his money where his mouth is.
Matt, he's got 3 years left in an Oilers jersey as it stands right now.
Yeah, the countdown clock is also on. That for while this may be very good news for Oilers fans in the near term, it has also, I believe, set a countdown clock afoot here. 3 more years. So considering the 2 past seasons where they played in the Cup final, won the West, he's basically given them a half decade.
Well, yeah, but
5 postseasons.
But over a decade of total service. So it's more than enough time for the Oilers to build around him. 2 things here. If he wins the Stanley Cup this year or next year, does he just pull the LeBron and say, Cleveland, I gave you the championship and then leave?
I don't know.
If he wins in the last year, I think that helps the Oilers because he might want to come back and try to run it back with them. But anytime in the next 2 years, I don't know. He might just say, hey, I won you your cup and now I'm moving on. It's important to note he's got 3 years left. He'll be done at 31 as an Edmonton Oiler. Everybody else is older than him on this team. In the top 9, only Trent Frederick is younger than him at 27 years of age. Everybody else in the top 9 is older than him, and on defense, only Evan Bouchard is younger than him. Only Evan Bouchard. So, I guess Ty Amberson is the 6th guy. So, McDavid surveyed the demo of this Oilers team and said, in 3 years' time, they are going to be toast. This core is done in 3 years' time, which is why he capped it at 2 on the extension. Anything more than that, and it becomes huge question marks as to whether or not the Oilers can churn and turn over this roster and keep themselves competitive. So I think it makes a ton of sense on Conor McDavid's side, and he's left money on the table for them to help him out. So we'll see. KG move by McDavid.
We have a couple of super chats on YouTube today. Actually, one holdover from Friday's program. That super chat button always available to you folks. If you'd like to click it, make your donation. We will answer your question or read your comment on the program. Half proceeds to the BC Mental Health Foundation. Kyle is in there today saying, if Cootes was on San Jose or Chicago in a full rebuild, he should play, but the Canucks have depth. I hear what you're saying, Kyle, in terms of the Canucks are absolutely different than San Jose and Chicago, or at least San Jose and Chicago from the last few years. They are not in a full tear-down rebuild. But what I would argue is the Canucks center depth chart is a little closer to San Jose or Chicago than it is to a cup contenders. I mean, think of it. If this kid was just dispatched to junior after a week of camp, your next center up would be Nils Oman or Max Sasson, with Teddy Bluger and a still yet unproven over an 82-game schedule Atu Ratu, an unproven in a second-line role Philip Hedl, and an Elias Pettersson you're hoping to bounce back. So their center depth chart resembles something closer to a team in full rebuild than it does a team atop the NHL pecking order. Is that fair?
It's fair, but
you're way better on defense and goal, and you're just generally more talented and deeper than those clubs. But in that specific position, you're a little closer to the bottom of the NHL
But you can't have an 18-year-old that you want to be your next captain be responsible for that lack of depth. Like, he can't be your solution.
Nobody benefits from it in the short term, Blake.
Yeah, in the short term, for sure.
Yeah.
But again, I don't think anybody, I certainly am not expecting the Canucks center ice position to look like this on February the 1st, certainly March the 1st. Like, I think there's
deadline is a few days into March.
Yes.
You mean post-deadline?
Sure. March 5th. Like, I think the deal's done before that, though. And I think the Canucks have every intention of finding a center somewhere this season. And so,
you're right.
So why are you going to jeopardize development of your player when you know this isn't going to be what center depth looks like?
That's if you are jeopardizing development of your player. If he's playing in a third-line role, that is not jeopardizing development because he's playing enough. Incidentally, March 6th, the trade deadline this year.
Oh, March 5th still wasn't enough.
No, that's right.
Yeah.
2 errors within the
I think
same
he would need to
sentence.
be a third-line center playing PP2 for me to be placated there. If you're ready to give him that.
PP2 is playing like 20 seconds a shift, Blake. You
That's-
really
you
need
still
to
work
do
on
that
it.
to
Still work on
placate?
it. Yeah, I do.
What about as a penalty killer taking draws on his strong side?
Sure.
It's the only right shot center they got.
It'll beef up his minutes. All situations, yeah, sure.
The other super chat we got from Friday's program from Flying V Sports Cards and Breaks. I do wonder whether this is investment related. Wants to know if Elias Pettersson is finally going to be back to being a star player for this team again. You holding some rookie cards here, Flying V? Honestly, the answer is who knows. I would like to think yes. I would like to think he is embarrassed enough about the performance over the last year and a half that the extra weight that he put on during the summer was his move into full commitment to this being a 12-month-a-year job and understanding he's got to do all the little things now beyond just relying on the natural gifts. Of course, there's an injury component to all of this as well. And the other thing, and this dovetails with what we're talking about at the center ice position, the way, and we're going to go through preseason predictions, the good, the bad, the ugly, looking at this Canucks team vis-a-vis the Pacific Division and Western Conference over the next few days. But as it stands right now, everybody, Elias Pettersson, Jake DeBrusk, and Brock Besser are going to see the absolute toughest matchups from everybody they face. When you load up your best offensive players on a single line, when you are trying to get by with a second-line center who's never been a second-line center, with an AHL All-Star in the top 6, with an NHL rookie in the top 9, well, 2 NHL rookies in the top 9, and Lekkerimäki and Cootes, who have potential, yes, but no track record, you are going to get either the toughest matchups, power on power, all the number one centermen playing against that Elias Pettersson line, or you're going to get the shutdown shadow centers, right? The Selke Trophy winning types are the guys who would like to vie for that award, who make their hay in the NHL by being superior defensive players.
And as an approach, I don't have a problem with that, though, Matt. As long as they are performing to their capabilities. If you're talking, it's vintage Elias Pettersson with DeBrusk and Besser as we know them now. I'm okay with that, with the load up. I'm okay with them taking on that responsibility, especially considering that Elias Pettersson can play such a good two-way game
theoretically,
as well.
Yeah, I mean, theoretically, it should give Elias his best chance at offensive success playing with those two wingers.
Right.
Whether it gives the Vancouver Canucks their best chance at offensive success because teams don't have to worry as much about the other lines, we shall see. And if it comes to a day where Adam Foote and his coaching staff believe someone else should be playing right wing other than Brock Besser, or somebody else should be playing left wing other than Jake DeBrusk, then maybe it's a team that's looking for a little bit more balance, and then maybe there's a world where Elias isn't getting the toughest matchups night after night, shift
But
after
as far
shift.
as what we've seen so far, everybody is saying all the right things about this player, about the preparations that he's done, the changes that he has made. Limited exposure to the preseason has meant that we haven't really seen the fruits of those changes just yet, outside of the one fabulous power play goal that everybody was crowing about. So it's been limited exposure. It's been limited bright spots. I don't think that preseason gave us really much of an indication as to whether or not those changes that he's made off the ice have translated on the ice. I think we're going to need 5 to 15 games before we make a really educated decision on whether or not Elias Pettersson is back.
I think that's probably fair. Let's get to our menu. It is brought to you by Greta. Hockey is back, and Saturday, October 11th, that's this Saturday. We're dropping the puck on a brand new season of Canucks Army, all one word, watch parties as Vancouver takes on Edmonton. This is a full-on hockey celebration with the Canucks Army crew. The Rink-Wide Vancouver crew will be there early. Carson Price, we're going to be there. Hosted by our buddy David Quadrelli of Canucks Conversation. The game on every big screen, game day specials, giveaways, and surprises all night. Doors at 6, puck drops at 7. This is 50 West Cordova, downtown Vancouver. Grab your crew, rep your fan gear, get ready for the season opener party that only the Army can pull off. Tickets are free. All you have to do is register nationgear.ca. And if you're familiar with Greta, or if you're not, typically we are in the back section of the bar up a couple of stairs where there is plenty of tables and booths, and there's a bar back there, and there's a bitch and air hockey game and some other fun games as well.
And it's always fun to beat your friends at something and
Right.
rub their faces in it.
Right. And Mike's going to drink too much, and he's still going to beat me into the office on Friday morning because that's what he does. John Shannon is going to join us. He's got the info on Braden Coots. Reported this morning Coots will be in the lineup Thursday, so we'll talk to John. We're also going to get Canucks season predictions from all of our regular guests who are joining us this week. So it's John Shannon's turn today. It is also Jeff Patterson's turn today. Jeff was busy over the weekend covering the preseason finale and the Sunday practice at UBC with all the roster moves. So talk to Jeff about all the particulars as well. Later in the program, Whitecaps win again, haven't lost in 10 games, still vying for first place in the MLS West. Galda's back. He set up Moeller. Everything is chef's kiss with Vancouver Whitecaps FC. Lions surging 4 in a row. Beat Calgary again, sitting on a home playoff spot for the first time since early in the season. And you may have caught some baseball.
The Blue Jays played
the
2
weekend.
games, sort of. They played 2 games. The Yankees did not.
At 13-1, she came in and said, "So what are you going to watch now?" I said, "Well, there's a full slate of NFL." In fact, good on the Blue Jays for doing that to the Yankees early because I was able to catch
You could
more,
move on.
more
Yes.
than I thought I would of
Yeah.
that beautiful uniform game yesterday down the I-5 between the Seahawks and the Buccaneers. Intern Elijah noticed it as well. Do you see they did like the score bug and the graphics all dated to
Love it.
the era of creamsicle Buccaneers and royal blue Seahawks? Those uniforms are absolutely amazing. It must only be ego and arrogance inside the Seattle Seahawks facility to keep that darker blue uniform that they've been using for years. Because if you could view this clearly, objectively, you would absolutely go back to those old school throwback
See, I
unis
think
as your
companies-
regular. They are absolutely gorgeous.
I
Capital G.
think companies keep a blander version of themselves on the front line so that they can make something like this
Why?
special.
Why?
So they can
No.
make,
No.
because then you don't think that's special
The
anymore.
object is to stand out. I will always think those uniforms special, as I will with the Buccaneers creamsicle, although I was sort of wishing they wore the orange pants. They were in the all whites.
I like the all whites.
Anyways, that was a fabulous game, too. It just didn't go the Seahawks'
Yeah.
way, so we'll get to that as well as the Blue Jays and the Mariners. They got a home playoff win.
They're alive.
First time in nearly a quarter century.
They're alive.
They're alive, and they're adorable. So all that coming up on the program. Time now for our Bet365 bets of the day, Blake. And I have less a selection today as I have an informational
Oh,
Bet365.
you don't want to actually put your name on it? Is that it?
Well, We're at the beginning of the NHL season, so I want to make them aware of the NHL futures markets that are available on Bet365. These are bets predicting season results. So the Vancouver Canucks are plus 6,000 to win the Cup. They're not amongst the top 18 picks on the board. The Bet365 market has them right on the edge there of final third of the NHL. And they're plus 2,800 to win the West, the 10th choice. So if you extrapolate, that's like an out of the playoffs line for the Canucks. So if you're a bettor with great confidence here in the home team, perhaps some tickets you'd like to hold all year, the Canucks to win the Cup, the Canucks to win the Western Conference, just so you know, Oilers Hurricanes, the co-favorites to win the Cup at plus 750. They are followed by the Avalanche, Stars, and Knights, who are all at plus 900. That's your top five in terms of the shortest odds to win the Cup. Preseason, because the season gets going tomorrow, right? Canucks play day 3, but the regular season gets going tomorrow at Bet365.
I'm going Mariners and Tigers. The Tigers have played entirely on the road here in the playoffs, and they come home. They're going to be a little bit nervous. All this accomplished, of course, they did not finish the season strong, and it's a chance for the Mariners to jump on them with a little bit of momentum, having won Game 2. Logan Gilbert on the bump, taking the Mariners minus 1.5 runs. It pays out a plus 130, a little bonus there for you.
Yeah.
By giving up the 1.5 runs.
This segment of presentation of Bet365, whatever your bet, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Download the app, get in on the game, use code NATION when doing so. Must be 19 or older. Please play responsibly. John Shannon coming up next. Sick Harrison Price from the Historic Wall Center.
And this segment brought to you by your Toyota Pacific dealers and the Toyota Prius plug-in hybrid. You see, I've noticed that you've all been a little bit jealous of those friends that have an electric vehicle or very fuel-efficient vehicle, and you're like, I'd love to jump in on that. But I travel too much. I drive around the Lower Mainland.
No.
I'm so scared.
No,
I'm so scared.
No. Charge as you drive.
Fear no more.
No charger needed at home, just regular plug-in overnight.
You don't even need to drive electric if you don't want to. You are in control. Drive electric up to 72 kilometers on battery alone. But if you need to flick it over to gas, you do that. And you still get a very fuel-efficient vehicle. And you don't have to sacrifice ride or style or performance at all. Go to your Toyota Pacific dealers and give it a test drive. You can lease one right now. From $99 weekly at 3.49% APR for 60 months with $3,800 down. It includes a $3,000 discount. Shop Toyota.ca, or again, your local Pacific Toyota dealer.
Here he is, the most famous man from Oliver, British Columbia, the former executive producer of Hockey Night in Canada, his 100% Hockey podcast, 100% Canucks podcast, Mr. John Shannon. How are you?
I am well. Happy Monday, boys.
Yes, and you had the big report this morning. Braden Coots will be in the opening night lineup Thursday when the Vancouver Canucks begin their season at home here at Rogers Arena versus the Calgary Flames. Pray tell.
Well, we had Jimmy on our show a week ago, and he admitted that this was going to be a consideration, that they would spend the week discussing whether Coots would go right back to junior hockey or would he stick around a little longer. And then it became quite obvious on the weekend he was going to stick around a little longer. Then the confirmation today that, yes, he will, in fact, play on Thursday. Whether that means he's here for the season, don't get your hopes up. There are some limitations. The 9-10 games are in there, but as far as pure excitement about what a guy has been at camp and how well he's played at camp, he's being rewarded for that Thursday night against the Flames.
Every year we get reminded, John, with injuries late in a training camp and preseason. You can do all the math at the start of a training camp or preseason. Oh, who's eligible for waivers? Who's waiver exempt? Who needs? And then often it sorts itself out with the guys getting a little bit nicked, a little bit dinged, and we'll see how healthy they are down the middle. But it sort of has just worked out perfectly for Braden Coots, his hard work to be rewarded here, based on the way a couple of guys have been digged. And, of course, Niels Höglander gone for the foreseeable future here. So the planets aligned for Coots to at least last these 8 or 9 games, as you talked about.
Yeah, no, I think that's accurate. You do wonder if there is something wrong with Teddy Bluger. We have yet to hear anything about that at this point. But in so many ways, I think that even people inside the organization are pleasantly surprised with what Coots has done, and the fact that he's been put between Kane and Lekkerimäki on a regular basis now tells me that there's a great deal of confidence in what this young guy can do. He doesn't look very big to me, boys. No. He is still a teenager. Yep. But he's a smart hockey player, and everybody keeps extolling the virtues of his leadership. And if you can do those types of things and still play the game and play smart, then you've got a chance.
How much of this do you think is driven, John, by the Canucks' relative lack of quality or quantity at center ice? Like, do you think he would have made a team that had some better center icemen? And how much of it do you think is his right-handedness? He's the only right-handed center on the team.
I think the latter is a factor, Matt. I think being a right-handed centerman is key to this. Mind you, where is that most valuable in the face-off circle? I'm not sure he's learned how to win face-offs just yet against men, but there's certainly something there. And this is just me. I think we should probably enjoy Thursday night and then wait and see, quite frankly. And I know that there's a ton of excitement on the West Coast about him and what he's done. But it's, to me, it might be a classic case of flavor of the week.
People want meritocracy so badly here, John, and I've seen it on social already when I suggested that I think he should go down just on Friday or Saturday, and people are just so livid that they've seen so much more, and yet, of course, the worry is this guy is just 18 years of age. He's not done developing, and he doesn't get to flex all the muscles if he makes the Vancouver Canucks. He doesn't get to play on power play 1. Doesn't get to be the top line guy playing 22 minutes a night like he will, and that's tough to reach your full potential as early as you want to when you don't get that opportunity here in your 18th year on the planet.
Yeah, and I think that will be the measure, over these next 3 or 4 games. I mean, if he's playing 8 minutes, Blake, it's not serving any purpose. It's not serving any purpose at all. And yes, it's great to have him around and learn how to be a pro. But something tells me he knows a lot about that stuff already. Whether it be in the Western League or whether it be playing for Team Canada. So from that perspective, the question will become, and it's something we might be even asking next week when we get together, is 8 minutes in the NHL better than 23 minutes in the Western League? And I think at this point, when you're that age, it's 23 minutes in the Western League.
What do you think this says about Adam Foote and his staff, John, that they'd be willing, and this is a rookie NHL head coach, that they'd be willing to keep an 18-year-old center iceman into the season?
Well, the one thing I would say is that I think that people have been open-minded. I don't think it's an act of desperation. I think people are saying almost a little bit to what Blake talked about with a meritocracy, is he deserves it. And let's call a spade a shovel. If he deserves to be here, he deserves to be here. Whether he can manage being here long term when it means something is going to be the question. And if he ends up being on the ice on Thursday night against Nazem Kadri, or Michael Backlund, they're not going to give him very much slack. They're not going to say, whoa, he's an 18-year-old and he's playing at home. We're going to be nice to him. It doesn't work that way anymore in the regular season. And so that will be the real challenge in the short term for Cootes. Long term, it looks like a great pick. But you know what? It's almost too early to say anything other than let's enjoy Thursday night.
Hey, as you mentioned, you had Rutherford on your show recently. I know he spent some time talking about Adam Foote and his system. For those who missed, if you can take us back to that conversation. But as I listened, as I read through it, I get the sense that Foote may have a bit of a longer leash for offensive players, may have a bit of a longer leash for young players than his predecessor did. Fair?
Well, the key word in the discussion that Jim mentioned on 100% Hockey was he simplified the system. And perhaps that's paying homage to some of the creative players that this team has. When you have somebody of a Quinn Hughes, you give him a long leash. Perhaps they're giving Elias Pettersson a longer leash. That's not a bad thing. Jake DeBrusk, a longer leash. Even Brock Besser, give Besser more opportunities just to shoot the puck because we know how good he is. But to me, the word that jumped out from Jim on our show was simplify. And that then pushes back to me that tells me that he is trying to let the players dictate a lot more of the play rather than X's and O's on a whiteboard.
We are 9 months away from Quinn Hughes being eligible to sign a contract extension.
Why you got to go there? We were having such a lovely conversation about the season ahead.
No,
John's last...
it's not all bad, Matt. Hear me out.
John's last appearance on this show, he said, let's stop talking about Quinn's future. Let's enjoy this season. And then you go right back into the gutter, Blake Price.
It's not the gutter. Hear me out. Hear me out. Did we get a new template for show me contracts for incumbent superstars today with Conor McDavid's ultra discount for 2 years? Could we see something similar for Quinn Hughes as he says, if I'm going to commit long term, I need to know that you guys know what you're doing. Sign me to 2 more years. Is that possible?
I tried, John.
I mean, who knows? First of all, I think the Kaprizov deal last week was not a blueprint for anybody else. It may be a blueprint 2 years from now, but it's not a blueprint right now. And I don't think Connor is such a unicorn. I mean, Connor's now, by the time this contract comes into play, Connor may not be, and I don't have the numbers in front of me, he may not be in the top 15 of top paid players, highest paid players in the league.
It's true.
I mean, Connor McDavid.
Yeah.
Because Connor has set the rules of engagement about winning the Stanley Cup in Edmonton. That's what he's done. And he's given them a timetable of 3 years to do it. This year, which is under the old contract, and then 26, 27, and 27, 28. Then all bets are off. And by the way, I am not prepared to talk about Connor McDavid's renewal on this show either 3 years from now.
No, we won't do that countdown just yet.
When I want to know. I might go. I might go to a gambling site and say, when's the first time somebody's going to bring up when will Connor renew? Because listen, we did the perfunctory thing that every Canuck fan expects. Is we did ask Jim about it, and he said the same thing I said. There's nothing they can do right now. They can create a relationship, which they have between Quinn and Pat Brisson and Jim and Patrick, but that's all they can do right now. Mm-hmm. And I do think there are mitigating factors, quite frankly, in the Hughes family budget than there are in the McDavid budget.
How pissed off is the NHLPA that Connor signed for such a light AAV?
Well, I think a little ripple. It's fascinating. And I don't mean this to become a promotional tool for 100% hockey, but Ron Hainsey was on the show on Friday, and we asked him what the involvement of the Players Association is in contracts. And he really downplayed it. He said, yes, we don't give them near the advice, I think, now, because 50% of HRR goes to the players. It doesn't matter which player it is. If Ron Hainsey's, if it's not going to Conor McDavid, it's going to go to Trent Frederick, or it's going to go to to Ike Howard. I mean, it's going to go to another Oiler. So from that perspective, it doesn't matter near as much anymore now that it's a 50-50 split. Do I think other agents are angry?
Well, except,
yeah, I do.
Except for John, there's. I mean, you say 50% go to the players, but there's nearly $250 million in unspent money across the NHL. Wow. And I thought, with Kaprizov really putting the screws to Minnesota and some of these other high-end players, McDavid, Eichel, who have not yet signed, I mean, it seemed like there was, if not a coordination, a coincidence that all these top players would be holding out and fear of losing their clubs.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good point, but I just don't see it. I think that there are other things, because if you want the big boys to get it, then the middle class and the entry level guys aren't getting it, and the unrestricted free agents that are looking for jobs like Jack Roslovic aren't getting it. So you're the NHLPA for all players, not just for the superstars.
Jackson Lacombe is barely getting paid more than or less than Conor McDavid. Like it's the fact that he's within arm's reach of Conor McDavid is a little bit odd. But I think it's so crazy, John, that it just gets thrown out as a unique situation of a guy clearly saying, this is Sidney Crosby going 8.7 for eternity, right?
It is exactly what it is. Exactly what it is. And the one thing I would tell you is that I was told last Wednesday that, that number 113, it's going to be in year 3 of these 3 years of the CB of the cap. Mm-hmm. It could be closer to 125. So it could be going up a lot faster than people realize, which then 3 years from now will open up a lot more money for a guy like Conor McDavid, who will still be into his prime, in his early 30s, ready to rock and roll.
Do you say that big bump because of expansion fees to Atlanta and Houston?
No, because that's not HR. That's not HRR.
That's not HRR. That's outside. Right. That's
Mm-hmm.
right.
That's outside. That's the owners. Just
although they do. Yeah. Well, yes. Although when they come into the league, conceivably that's an extra $200 million a year for them to spend.
What'd you make of the Bucci?
And an extra 100 jobs for NHL players.
Bucci Gross tweeting about those two markets again over the weekend. Is there anything to that? Is there traction happening there?
I didn't see John's tweets. What were they?
Just, they're cryptic. I mean, him and Kevin Weeks have been doing this throughout the process here with those two markets.
Well, the Atlanta and Houston.
Atlanta and Houston, yeah.
Well, what I can tell you is that the Atlanta people have not met with Gary and Bill yet.
Okay.
They haven't met yet, so.
My last question for him is his Canucks prediction. We're doing this with all our guests this year. So, Mr. Shannon, a point total and where you think they'll finish relative to the Pacific and Western Conference.
Well, in honor of who signed today, they're going to get 97, and they're going to finish third in the division. Make the playoffs.
Okay.
Brilliant. We'll put you down for it, and when we tweet it out, all the people who think the Canucks will be better than that will send you angry replies. Okay?
Hopefully they don't treat you like the CBS analysts that pick the Yankees over the Jays. Those guys are not doing well today. Yeah.
Yeah. Could a best of 5 series end in 2?
Yeah. You should be able to buy.
It sure seems that way in your town today, John. Yeah. Great stuff, John. Thank you for this. Until next week.
See you, boys. Cheers.
Sekerson Price from the Historic Wall Center.
And this segment brought to you by Uber Eats. Yes, new partners at Uber Eats. We're partnering up with Uber Eats all season long to deliver hockey fans the ultimate game day experience. I've already taken part in this Friday night. This is a guilty pleasure I have on game day, Matt.
Mm-hmm.
Movie theater popcorn. I order in a couple of vats of movie theater popcorn.
Vats
from the movie theater.
I am
with
so
double butter on it.
Oh
it is
my! Listen to this.
Absolutely decadent.
Double butter. I will say that I'm stoked for this partnership because we are frequent Uber Eats users at my home. We are particularly fond of Uber Eats for those Canuck game nights where you maybe, don't have as much time towards face-off to go and cook something and be in the kitchen and away from the TV. So bring it on, Uber Eats.
We're going to be in the mix on the game for the game on Thursday. Drop by after 12:30 p.m. at Rogers Arena to hang out with our crew, get in on the excitement Uber Eats is building. And you can get exclusive game day deals on the app as well, by the way. So even if you're not going, you can be a part of all the action. But it starts on home opener night. Truly everything from game day eats to paper plates and napkins if you're hosting to all the ingredients you need to make your favorite game day dip before, during, after the game. Uber Eats is assisting every fan's hockey experience all season long. We'll see you on the plaza before the home opener.
On Thursday. Here's Jeff Patterson. He'll be at the game, albeit inside the arena, covering the Vancouver Canucks as he does for us, and, of course, as the host of Rink Wide Vancouver post-game show. Had another one on Friday. Hi, Jeff. How goes?
Good. I heard you guys talking about Uber Eats there, and I was thinking to myself, we use Uber Eats here at the Patterson household so often that we're thinking of having a few of the drivers over for Thanksgiving dinner, like not to deliver the dinner, but just to share in the. We feel like we know them all now, so
they become family friends, exactly. Right? They're there so often.
Nate Bargatze's got a bit where he orders from two different companies, and the two drivers are meeting on the front stoop, and they're like, "Are you delivering to this?" Yeah, I am too. It can become a little bit too easy.
I don't know why you need anything beyond Uber Eats, Blake.
It's true.
Jeff, you took in the weekend that was the preseason game on Friday, and then, of course, a Sunday skate that was notable by who was absent. We're going to get into Braden Coots here, but first, update everyone if they missed anything over the Canucks weekend.
Yeah, Friday was pretty much a dress rehearsal, although it didn't look like a regular season game. I thought it was pretty scrambly and sloppy, and the star power that was on the ice, more star power in the stands with Thomas Muller and a few of the Dallas Mavericks in attendance as well. It wasn't a great night for McDavid. Draisaitl scored a goal, EP40. We're all still basking in the one-timer in Calgary because he didn't really follow up with a whole lot on Friday. Quinn was dialed and dealing, but really it was about Jonathan Lekkerimäki and Braden Coots. And Connor Garland. Hey, they won in overtime, something they didn't do nearly enough of last year. So, we talked on Friday about who was in the lineup, who wasn't in the lineup. What did that all mean? Now here we are 72 hours later. And yeah, I mean, you get to a practice on Sunday, a day before roster setting, and anybody that's on the ice or not on the ice, you start to wonder, is this all related to setting that roster? Teddy Blueger finished the game on Friday night, but I know was getting medical attention after the game. Didn't skate on Sunday. He was out at UBC, but his leg was fairly heavily wrapped. And if you guys recall, 2 years ago, in his first season with the Canucks, he got injured in the final game of the preseason and missed the first 6 weeks. So fingers crossed for him that this is nothing major, but literally hours away now from playing for keeps on Thursday night. We'll know more when they get back to practice on Tuesday and Wednesday, his availability, but you do wonder if Teddy Blueger may not be able to go when the season starts. And then the two defensemen that have kind of gone missing in action here a little bit in both Derek Forbort and P.O. Joseph. Forbort was seen around UBC. I didn't put my own eyes on P.O. Joseph on Sunday, but I do wonder if there's going to be some roster manipulation here ahead of the drop of the puck. They set their lineup on Monday, or they set their roster on Monday, but in terms of guys that are actually available to them for the game on Thursday and then Saturday, look, if P.O. Joseph is still nursing a groin issue at that point, give him a week, put him on IR. You're not probably going to use him in game action anyhow if he's the eighth defenseman on this roster. And then that could buy you some time to bring up a Victor Mancini and have him on the roster and possibly plug him in. So I don't think people should get too worked up by what they see on Monday afternoon as the season opening roster for the Vancouver Canucks. It's more about who's on the ice, who's available here in the days ahead before the puck drops on Thursday night.
Those veteran defensemen have barely been on the ice here recently, Jeff. Like, Mancini would be the guy that's actually been playing regularly here. I have to believe he's going to be back here for Thursday.
Yeah, now they've been pretty upfront that Forbert nursing something, but this is all load management. And Adam Foote himself said, like, this is about making sure that he's ready to go in game one. So I wasn't shocked that he wasn't on the ice on Sunday. But you're right, a veteran guy like that, you'd like him to get a couple of good solid skates in before game one of the season. P.O. Joseph had a decent camp. I didn't think he was terrific in the preseason action that he had. And then basically, it's a day off for them here on Monday. So it's going to be a week between skates for him if he's back on the ice on Tuesday. So, still a lot of moving parts for the Vancouver Canucks, but that's sort of par for the course at this time of the year. And I think it goes for a lot of teams around the National Hockey League. So, again, the roster will be set. But then we'll really start to dig in with when we take attendance at practice on Tuesday.
We've been ballyhooing the other defensemen here, looking more closely at Verlander and Mancini. But DPD, we were told, is the apple of their eye. He didn't really do much per se in this training camp. He didn't really wow us with anything that we hadn't seen before, but yet he's there. They clearly did have him in pen for opening night here.
Yeah, the 28 games that he played last year certainly did enough, I think, to sway the opinion of management and the coaching staff that this guy belongs to the National Hockey League. And then we saw, of course, that they didn't send him to Abbotsford for the run to the Calder Cup, but they didn't need him ultimately when they won the championship there. But just quietly has gone about his business. He's been physical in the preseason in the games that he has played. And I think a lot of attention was locked on the right side, even though he did slide over and play the right. But I'm talking about the right-handed guys and how all that would play out. He got his bell rung pretty good. Pods caught him there behind the net late in the second period, left the game. We found out afterwards it was the concussion spotter that wanted him to be checked out, but he was back in action in the third period. And, I was happy to see he was one of the first guys on the ice at UBC on Sunday, and that just told me that completely clean bill of health here, that if there was any after effect, if he woke up on Saturday and wasn't feeling well, or even on Sunday, whatever the case, they wouldn't have had him practice. But he looked eager. He wanted to practice, and he was out there. And so we had a chat with him afterwards, and he said that, no worse for wear, that it's part of the game, and that he got caught. He'll do that to other guys, but this time he was on the receiving end of, a stiff body check. It comes with the territory of a contact sport.
Is keeping Cootes beyond the cuts this weekend related to that Bluger knee ailment, Jeff?
Yeah, I don't think that you can separate them entirely. That had Teddy Bluger been completely healthy here, I think he would be in your lineup. And then it's a question of, is it Cootes over Ratu? Cootes has done enough. We know the stories here. I haven't been on with you guys since Friday night. The Lekkerimäki goals were incredible, but the first one doesn't happen if Braden Coots doesn't outmuscle Matt Savoy, wins the battle in the slot, and is able to put the puck in Lekkerimäki's wheelhouse. And for all the other things that this kid has done through camp, there are still many people questioning his size. And we even talked the other day about it's a man's game and how's he going to measure up. I think it's those sorts of moments that really are going to resonate with the coaching staff as they try to make a decision on this guy. And so the way it's been trending for a little while now, not surprised that he's going to break camp here with the Vancouver Canucks. It's still, and it's kind of been this mantra about him earning another day. I still think it remains sort of in that boat, but the next few days are going to lead to his NHL debut. How many games he gets in, I still think he's on the clock as far as the 9-game thing is concerned. And that'll take you, and again, to be clear, it's 9 games that he participates in. It's not the first 9 games for the Vancouver Canucks. So, this can get them basically to the end of the month. At that point, you have regular season games to measure them by, bigger sample size of games that matter when everybody's in the lineup and everybody's hustling and all that kind of stuff. And then decisions will be made. But I still think long-term for his development, getting back to Seattle, dominating there, and seeing what he can do with one more year of junior hockey, And his Seattle Thunderbirds look like they could use him. They've been schooled here a bunch of times in the early going, so they're missing their captain, their leader, their best player. But for the here and now, he is a Vancouver Canuck. And I should mention as well, before we got going with his post-practice scrum yesterday, I presented to him that he has strong ties to the Seattle area, playing for the Thunderbirds, but he is an Alberta guy. So is it Blue Jays? Is it Mariners? And Matt, you'll be happy to know that he's on your side. And he looked at me and he said, Canadians.
He's got his priorities.
He said, right, Canadians. I said, yeah, but West Coast, man. Like, yeah, it can go either way here. But no, he said Blue Jays.
So we'll put you down for 9 games then on the poll question, Jeff. Your expectations for Cootes? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Now, I mean, an injury elsewhere in the lineup can certainly change that as we sit here right now. I still think that he's on a pitch count if we're talking baseball as far as games played here in the NHL.
Not that it necessarily matters, but do you think Jonathan Lekkerimäki forged his way onto this team with his goal scoring, that great shot and release that few on the team, if any, possess? Or do you think this was a situation of him taking advantage of Nils Höglander being hurt and a job available?
No, I think his second week, I mean, it started with the 6-on-5 goal in Edmonton, and we were all sort of jaws dropping that, that's how you execute a one-timer, and said, like, that's what this guy can do for this hockey club, and that's what he has to do. And then he backed it up with a strong performance, the 2 goals the other night. So, even before he scored, there was a foray up ice early in the hockey game. Vander Kane got him the puck in open ice, and he worked his way through the neutral zone and let a snapshot go in stride that Calvin Pickard had trouble with and sort of spilled a rebound. And it was a reminder, like, this guy does shoot it differently. Like, I mean, they can all shoot at this level, but Pickard had trouble making a clean save from distance. It didn't amount to much in that play, but, a lot of times that'll present a rebound for somebody else or for Lekkerimäki himself, whatever the case. So, it wasn't just the goals. The goals stand out. They're the highlights, but there were other moments in that hockey game where I thought, he put his skills on display and really away from the puck. I think he has brought his game up a notch too. And it looks like a guy that, learned from 24 games with mixed results in the National Hockey League last year, but he saw the NHL firsthand. He got a test and a taste of it all. And I think he understands that it can't just be goal scoring. He has to score goals. That's what he was drafted on, and that's what he is supposed to do here. But to make it and have a long career and a successful run in the National Hockey League, you got to be able to win your board battles. Rick Tocchet's not here anymore, but it still echoes in the halls of Rogers Arena, right? All those staples, and they may have new terminology for it this year with a new head coach, but it seems like he's taken heed of a lot of that, and his play away from the puck has been solid. It's been responsible. And not the biggest guy in the world, but seemed to be able to hold his own and win his share of battles there. So, I'd say it's sort of twofold. It's the things that he did on his own, plus the opportunity that was presented when Höglander went out. And we know that he's going to be gone for a while. So, hey, good on him. If he recognized an opportunity was knocking, he opened the door and barged on through.
And that's the long-term project, is to turn him into a full, well-rounded player. But for this season, Jeff, there's still going to be those foibles. I still think you need him around on the regular because of the separating skill that he has with that shot. And I wonder if power play 1, even if this doesn't work with Kane over on the left side, like whether he gets it off or not, it's going to get around the league pretty quickly. That's something that they have to respect. And if he's a distraction over on that side, then you got PD on the right. To me, it's he's got an NHL level skill right now. Even if he's not a full, well-rounded player yet, right?
Yeah, and we had a few submissions into the inbox the other night on Rink White afterwards, kicked it around a little bit with Irv too, that you're right, like Evander Kane's there right now basically as a decoy, and he can use his size for puck retrievals. We've seen Connor Garland, who is sort of the king of the fake slap shot on the power play, but he's not really a shooting threat over there.
Right.
And again, he can help with entries, he can win you back some pucks and keep plays alive. But Lekkerimäki can grow into that side of things as well, but he might get you 5 goals over the course of the season just with the one-timer on that side. And you're right. If you got PD on one side and Lekkerimäki on the other, I mean, there's 2 one-time shooting threats on their off sides and Quinn at the top dealing. So, we've seen this before. I think back to when Quinn Hughes broke into the league and Alex Edler was the incumbent. I mean, we all knew that Quinn Hughes was going to grow into the role of the quarterback on the Canucks power play, but Travis Green was a little bit slow. And I think, you don't want to throw guys into the deep end right away. I think there is still sort of that carrot of earning opportunities, as archaic as maybe some of that thinking sounds. But veterans are veterans, and they've been at this for a while and shown that they can do it. Like, I don't know ultimately how the season will play out for Evander Kane on that power play. Like, I don't know. Jake DeBrusk got his 14 last year. You have to think that Elias Pettersson's going to be more productive. He's certainly hoping that he'll be more productive. Brock Besser with his contract, he needs to be a goal scorer for the Vancouver Canucks. And so, only one puck out there as they snap it around. Ultimately, it'll be interesting to sort of see where Evander Kane settles in, if it is Evander Kane or if they look at Garland. But if it's not going and they're trying to shake things up, then if Lekkerimäki's here on the roster, you'd certainly think he'd be on the second power play unit.
Sure.
But a promotion could very well be in order before too long.
And Jeff, Surrey's Archie Baines keeps on keeping on with the big club. We all wondered about his bid. You mentioned on Friday you thought he had to have a pretty good game, but here he is, still a Canuck.
Yeah, and good for him. I don't love, the 30,000-foot level looking down at this roster and seeing Archie Baines in the top 6 role with the Vancouver Canucks, but you've got Evander Kane who's knocking on the door. If Archie doesn't hold his own there, you certainly could promote Kane. Drew O'Connor could slide up. Linus Karlsson didn't do a whole lot to help his cause, but he's here too, and he sort of swapped in and out with Baines at practice yesterday, but it definitely was Archie's spot on that line with Philip Hedl and Connor Garland. So, lines don't stay together over the course of a whole season, but if that's where he's going to start, is it his? Is he a placeholder? Does this management group have an eye on some sort of transaction to bring in another body somewhere? We'll see. But look, we've seen what Archie Baines can do at the American Hockey League level. We have seen, his Western Hockey League numbers speak for themselves. I maintain that this guy has figured it out at every level he's played, and the one thing that's missing from his resume is point production. If he's going to play in that slot, like, he can't just be to defer to Hedl and Garland all the time. There have to be some expectations. You hear me say it. I've said it so many times. You can't just wear the uniform. And I truly believe that if you're in the lineup and you're that high in the lineup, then there damn well better be a bottom line. I don't care who you are. So if that's where he starts on Thursday night, then, I'll give him an opportunity. But I would have to think he would recognize that he better do something with it, or there will be somebody else that's placed in that position.
It's an interesting choice because there's a lot of pressure on Philip Hedl to be a second-line center, and when you're giving him an AHL winger,
I almost want to see that Thursday before I believe it.
Yeah.
They're back on the ice tomorrow. We'll see what happens. As Jeff said, there could be some roster manipulation from here. I think Baines had some moments through this preseason and through this camp. Good moments, also some poor ones. We'll see. Lastly, Jeff, we're asking all our guests this week for their prediction on this Canucks season. Give me how many points and where you see them finishing relative to the division, if not conference.
Well, having been around this team through camp and really even going back to the summer skates in early September and now through the preseason, I can report to you that the vibes are high and the outside noise is low. And that's a nice starting point for the Vancouver Canucks, given all that they offered up last year in the way of dysfunction and sideshows. So, they seem to be in a pretty comfortable spot. I think optimism abounds in all 32 camps at this time of the year. So I'm not trying to read too much into the vibes, but we'll see how far the vibes ultimately can take them. But Quinn Hughes looks like he's in midseason form already. Thatcher Demko, I thought, had an exceptional preseason. Now, if they could get the high-priced guy in the middle to ramp things up, he can get away with a mediocre preseason. But Elias Pettersson knows all eyes are going to be on him starting on Thursday night. So there's still that question there. But I will say this, that I do think that a healthy Thatcher Demko backed up by Kevin Lankinen certainly can change the conversation about what's possible for the Vancouver Canucks. They have to do better than 17 home ice wins. That was appalling last year. They owe it to their fan base, but they owe it to themselves if they're ultimately going to be a playoff team. They got to get that win total up into the low 20s at the very least. So, with Thatcher Demko, who played 23 games for them last year, if he could double that total, what does that do to the bottom line? The home ice record, if it's better, and if they don't lose 12 games in overtime, if they only lose 6 games in overtime, tack on a few more points here. I think 96 points is possible for this group. Again, with all they went through last year and arrived at 90, I certainly see a path to add to the totals here. I think goal scoring remains a challenge, but I think with goaltending and the defense core that they have built here, they can stay in games, they can win some low-scoring games. I'm going to say 96 points, and then you leave it to the hockey gods to see if that's enough to get you over the bar. I think 96 should get you into a wild card spot. So put me down for 96 points and a wild card spot for the Vancouver Canucks.
Okay, we sure will. And, of course, we'll be following on Rinkwide all season long. Jeff and Irf have you covered. Tyson Cole going to sit in some as well. Post-game Thursday after the opener against the Flames. And we'll catch up Friday. Jeff, thanks for this.
I want playoff hockey because playoff hockey is fun. It should be fun for the players, certainly fun for the fans, and it's fun for guys like us as well to extend the season and digest even more meaningful hockey. So, I'm putting them above the playoff bar.
Sekerson Price from the historic Wall Center built by Arbor Lee. The best plays aren't just on the ice or the field. Stay downtown at the Wall. Enjoy exclusive Sekerson Price perks. Call 604-331-1000. Tell them we sent you some blackout date supply based on availability. Whitecaps win again.
Yeah.
So boring.
Wasn't boring. It was
like
fun.
That golfer who just hits the middle of the fairway, the middle of the green, 2 putts for par, and extend their unbeaten streak to 10 across all competitions with a 4-1 victory over San Jose before 25,000 at BC Place yesterday. Second time this year they've reeled off a 10-game unbeaten streak. Sebastian Berhalter, have yourself a day, Seb.
Oh, man. 2
goals, 2 assists, a golazo. Pretty good call on that golazo, too.
Thank you.
Thomas Muller also scores his 6th in 6 games with the Caps, and 17-year-old Rayan Alumi opened the scoring.
The other 3 goals.
Starts at striker and opens the scoring.
Illumi, a nice back post goal on a set piece. The other 3 goals that you spoke about, all outside the box.
Yes.
Caps came in with, I think, only 6 goals from outside the box all season long. They got 50% more in 1 game alone. And that's just a nice thing to have in your quiver. Like, it's great to get tic-tac-toe, build up goals on a cross, all that sort of, and you're going to get that with Brian White when he comes back, of course, heading in goals and all that. And Brian,
if he comes back, we sure hope he's back for the playoffs. The Caps have already said he's probably not going to play the rest of the regular season.
To be able to get goals from just and the one thing you'll notice about Thomas Muller here, folks, is his ability to get powerful shots. Like Berhalter has 3 steps into both of his shots. Great goals. There's no steps at all for Muller. He's outside the box. Mm-hmm. And from a standstill position, and this is how he almost scored on opening night when he came in off the bench on his opening night.
Well, he did score. It was called back.
Yeah, it was called back. Yeah. Same idea, though. No run up to it. He's standing still, and he just whips that leg and still is able to slot it home. Like it's incredible. It's really incredible.
You can just see the confidence with Berhalter brimming. Caps keep pace with San Diego, Minnesota, and LAFC, who all win on the weekend. So still tied with San Diego atop the West. Still 2 points up on third place Minnesota with a game in hand. And still 4 up on fourth place LAFC, but LAFC has the game in hand on Vancouver and 2 on those other sides. Alas, the Supporters Shield campaign.
It's over.
Ended on Saturday. The Philadelphia Union got a victory that clinches them as the Supporters Shield recipients for the best regular season in MLS. It was once again a different lineup for Jesper Sorensen given all the injuries. Ralph Priso with a goal line clearance in just his second match at
Tremendous.
center back. Alume, we mentioned, this teenage kid just up from the academy a few weeks ago, starts at striker. Ryan Gauld came on, the captain, for the final 20 minutes, his second appearance since returning from that kneecap injury, and he set up the Thomas Muller goal. So I asked him on Friday, how's all this going to work with Thomas Muller on the pitch, being the organizer and all
Just
that?
fine.
It's seemingly
So
gonna
they've
be
got the game this week in Orlando. They've got multiple players away on international duty. It looks like Cabrera, Kubas, and the two Canadians, Ahmed and Nelson.
Yep.
And you've also got a quartet of players on yellow card warnings, where one more would get them suspended for decision day.
Who's that now?
Well, one of those guys is Kubas, I believe, so that will take him out of the risk. But that's why Bilal Halbouni didn't play this week. Was they wanted to make sure that they have one actual center back available for the game against Orlando. Now, do you risk it at this point? Pupa's going to be probably available. He was really close to being available for this week, but there's going to be a juggle. Jesper Sorensen has to weigh now who he has to put in because everybody's away on international duty, with also
Who he doesn't want to risk putting in.
for decision day.
Right.
Yes, where it might come down. Again, a draw is really all you need versus Orlando.
Mm-hmm.
A draw is pretty good because that gives you the upper hand on decision day.
Earthquakes coach Bruce Arena, quote, "We were simply outplayed in every phase of the game today, outplayed and outcoached. There's no excuses on our end. You could look at today, you could pick out a half dozen things we need to do better. It was a poor performance." I mean, the Caps made them look poor.
That's the thing.
As you mentioned, Orlando, second longest trip in the league next weekend. Decision day is here versus Dallas, October 18th at BC Place. Surging British Columbia Lions win their fourth in a row, 38-24, resoundingly over Calgary at BC Place Saturday to clinch a berth in the 2025 Grey Cup playoffs before 28,000 people. Lions move into second place in the West, where they haven't been since early in the season, and onto a home playoff spot pending a game in hand for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. BC secures the head-to-head tiebreak with Calgary, meaning the Stamps would have to make up 2 games in their final 3 to get over. Lions could still be the crossover team heading east, likely to Montreal, the 3rd seed in the West on the road, or the 2nd seed in the West, hosting a playoff game for the 3rd time in 4 years. Remote shot at first place should they win out and Saskatchewan lose out. BC led 21-6 at the half behind 248 yards from Nathan Rourke. He'd finish with 414 yards passing and 4 touchdowns, strengthening his MOP case.
They also punch back late. So they get punched in the face there in the fourth quarter. 2 scores for the Calgary Stampeders, and I got a little bit worried. And then they calm things down. They march down, get more points, and seal this thing away. That's a game.
It was 28-6 early in the third quarter. So,
but they would have. I think they would have lost this game earlier in the season.
Well,
Honestly.
they have blown some games in the fourth quarter this year. I mean, they were lamenting that after that loss to the Ottawa Redblacks a month or so ago. Keelan Hatcher with 2 touchdown catches on 7 receptions for 112 yards. He's now 219 yards clear of the field for the leading receiver by yardage in the Canadian Football League. Lions with 6 sacks, including 1 more for league leader Mathieu Betts. Your boy Xander Horvath makes the best of 2 carries with 42 yards.
Oh, my gosh.
And a touchdown. The closer. Lions on a bye this week. They will sit there and root for the East Division teams playing West Division teams. You got Toronto at Saskatchewan on Friday. You have Calgary at Hamilton Saturday. And then I think you're rooting Edmonton to beat Winnipeg on Saturday as well in an all-West.
Levi Mitchell's numbers are pretty damn good.
He's been excellent this year, too. This is going to be quite a derby down the stretch.
He's 200 yards up on 150 up on Nathan Rourke, and he's got 5 more touchdown passes than Nathan Rourke. 5 fewer picks.
And does he have a game in hand, too?
No, same games.
Okay.
Yeah.
Seahawks blow it late at home.
Tragic.
And we've heard and seen this before.
Yeah.
Tampa Bay scores 10 points in the final minute 8 to steal a victory at Lumen and keep the Seahawks from matching 4-1 San Francisco atop the NFC West. Uber veteran Levante David intercepts Sam Darnold on a ball that deflects off a defensive lineman helmet. In the final minute, it leads the game-winning field goal. Darnold, otherwise excellent, throwing for 341 yards, 4 touchdowns. Alas, the Seahawks' pass defense, not excellent. They allow 379, 163 to the rookie Emeka Egbuka, minus starters Devin Witherspoon and Julian Love. They don't play. And how about this? Baker Mayfield, he goes 29 of 33. He is the first quarterback in NFL history to have 375-plus passing yards and throw fewer than 5 incompletions in a regular season game.
They deserve better, but
Tampa's very good. They're 4-1.
the good news is they had help in the division. It wasn't as critical a loss.
Well, did they ever get help?
Yeah.
Seahawks into Jacksonville next weekend. Jags could move to 4-1 with a win tonight at home versus Kansas City on Monday Night Football. And the 72 Dolphins, what's left of them, they celebrate early this year. It took just 5 weeks to take down all the unbeatens as Philadelphia blows a 14-point lead at home and loses to Denver. New England goes into Buffalo and wins one on Sunday Night Football. Only one winless team remains, the New York Jets, after both Tennessee and New Orleans erase double-digit deficits and win 2 of 4 such victories in an entertaining Week 5 from the NFL. Tennessee does so thanks to premature celebration on Arizona's part. Running back DeMarcado drops the ball before crossing the goal line.
The reaction to this has been priceless because people have just said,
well, his head coach slugged him.
Like it's the easiest thing in the world to correct. Just one more step, please.
Yeah. Just
one more step.
If I'm coaching it now, I am, gentlemen, full possession till we hit the back of the end zone.
Right. Yeah.
Leave no doubt. It's an all-time gaffes game for the Cardinals. Kyler Murray gets hit in the face with an errant snap. Reports he got concussed. Then they make a game-winning interception, or so it appeared. But they fumble the ball. It gets kicked into the end zone, recovered for a Titans score.
Bizarre.
Mike, did you have the visual there? Did I send you the visual? The scoreboard?
Didn't get that one.
Okay, no problem. There's a picture of DeMarcado crossing the goal line, or about to cross the goal line, with the score bug there and the time left. And it's like the Cardinals lost this game. How? Oh, Blue Jays. Toronto Blue Jays. 1 win away from the ALCS after scoring 23 runs over 2 games. The most any team has scored through 2 games of any playoff series ever. 10-1 and 13-7. They beat the Yankees in the first 2 games of their ALDS at Rogers Center to take a 2-0 stranglehold on the series, heading to Yankee Stadium tomorrow for Game 3.
The other stat that I didn't send Mike's way, so I apologize.
Boy, lots of errors on us.
Yeah. This was also 20 straight runs by the Jays.
Yeah.
20 runs in a row. That is absolutely incredible.
Former Vancouver Canadian Trey Savage strikes out a club record 11 in the postseason over 5 1/3 innings without allowing a run or a hit, just one base runner. His 58% whiff rate, that's swings and misses from the opposition, the highest for any pitcher in a postseason start since 2008.
Obscene. And great work by John Schneider to give him this start.
In front of those fans, and a love affair is happening there between Trey. I mean, you just love the story here because this is a young kid who is still wide-eyed, of course, pitched in 5 levels this year.
Parents crying in the stands.
Oh, parents just sobbing. Can you imagine this? They didn't think this was coming.
And now you got the grizzled veteran Shane Bieber to go in Game 3, a little bit more equipped to handle the pressures of Yankee Stadium.
That's right. Vladdy Guerrero Jr. hits the first postseason grand slam in Jays history.
Which is incredible.
I was very surprised,
Yeah.
especially with some of those high-scoring games in the Atlanta World Series way back when,
and
right?
sluggers galore.
Whamco, the Whamco.
Yeah.
year. And he punctuates it with a bat flip a la Joey Bats 10 años later.
Well, he was more about distance than he was about height. And I think that's what
The bat flip or the ball?
the bat flip. It was like a scoot.
It was stylish.
It was stylish.
It was a very stylish bat
agree.
flip.
I agree. But to me, it was less inflammatory than Joey
Oh,
Bats.
everything is less inflammatory than with Joey Bats. Dalton Varsho, 2 home runs, 2 doubles, and yet he's, the third star of the game after Trey and Vladdy? Jays have more home runs in this series, 8, than strikeouts, 7. And Aaron Boone has been telling everyone who will listen, the Yankees manager, that is Toronto's superpower. That in an era where you count on the strikeout to get yourself most of the way or halfway through your 27 outs, this is a team that just doesn't do that a lot, puts bat to ball. And for a Yankees club that's not great defensively, see Aaron Judge in right field on the first Varsho double, that is like rat poison. They have no answer. We'll see how that goes in Game 3 now. Mariners win 3-2 in Game 2, their first home playoff victory in 24 years to even their ALDS with Detroit 1-1 heading to Motown. Jorge Polanco with 2 home runs off Tigers ace Tarek Skubal. He joins Junior, Edgar, and Buhner amongst Mariners to hit 2 dingers in a playoff game. Still don't know why the Yankees traded Buhner for Ken Phelps.
E&O on your rat poison comment. Rat poison is now illegal in Vancouver, hence the surge. You haven't seen these news stories lately?
No?
Yeah, they've changed the regulations on rat poison, and so we are being overrun by rats.
Oh,
in Vancouver, apparently.
Is Alberta still rat-free?
That's what they say.
They're very pleased
That's what they say.
about that.
Yeah.
Mariners needed that because, quite frankly, Game 1 was there for the taking, and you started to get worried last night. Josh Naylor with an error, and you're,
2-2
no,
game
they're going to let
late.
him off the hook again.
Yeah. But a quick response.
Yeah. Which was needed. See guys like Trey Yesavage, or at least guys hoping to be Trey Yesavage. There won't be many of them coming through the net, but there will be future Blue Jays. Become a Vancouver Canadian season ticket member. Call 604-872-5232 or CanadiansBaseball.com.
Did we check on our friends in Seattle? That was a busy weekend in Soto, as we talked about, but they made it through with all these home
Wow,
games.
did they ever. And the Raptors. The Toronto Raptors of the NBA. They play their annual Canada Series game at Rogers Arena tonight against Nikola Jokic and the Denver Nuggets. You were saying this is a league MVP, a world champion in town.
Maybe the best basketball player in the world right now is in our city.
Well, he's not Shea, but I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
I often feel like the Raptors' visit here gets lost because it's all eyes on the Canucks, who are about to begin the regular
100%.
season.
Yep.
But this year, with our 2 summer teams doing so well and the 2 teams of local interest, baseball teams of local interest in the playoffs, I find it's even more lost than usual.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even though I would argue, I think this Raptors team has a little better forecast than some of the more
Probably
recent.
a bottom playoff team. Yeah.
Yeah. And the NHL season about to get going here, and that means the Daily Face-Off Survivor Pool. You only have a couple of days here to sign up. It's officially live. If you've got the knowledge to go the distance, this one's for you. It's a game of elimination strategy. $2,500 grand prize for the last man standing. You start with 2 lives each round. You pick one winner from the slate of NHL games, but here's the twist. You can only use the same team twice. Throughout the contest, you get a pick wrong. That's 1 life gone. Lose twice, you're out. We'll do this until one fan is standing. The winner takes home $2,500. So if you're ready to outlast the rest, sign up now at dailyfaceoff.com or hit the link in our show notes. May the best fan survive. Final results of the Redwoods Golf Course poll question from Friday. We asked you, has the Canucks preseason made you more optimistic about this year? Yes or no? They said
Yes.
percentage
64.
72. P-Bats, what I feel better about is the vibe around the team, much lighter and free. The results are yet to be seen. Suffering Canucks fan, no, not at all. It's not full rosters. All it's proven is that the Canucks' depth is about as shallow as the Salton Sea.
Wow.
I'm not familiar with the depth on the Salton Sea. Chris, preseason has and always will have very little indication of potential season success. And Jim says, no question about it. I'm ready to get hurt again. Errors and omissions from Friday's program and beyond. We had a technical glitch with Jeff Merrick right at the end as we were finishing up that interview. We did not get to the Jeff Merrick Easter egg. We will this week.
Yerke's trying to pin the lack of a clean sheet for Yohei Takaoka on me because during the game last night I mentioned that he was one.
We do not believe in
clean
jinxes
sheet
on
behind
this program.
Posted.
We believe in agency.
Yeah. Yeah, goals are scored in all the other games where people don't talk about clean sheets.
That's right.
So,
take that, Yerke.
yeah.
And thanks for joining us, everybody. Appreciate you spending some time connecting with the program. Please do subscribe to all our assorted channels, YouTube, and wherever you get your podcasts. Follow on social. That's X, Insta, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, Blue Sky. Live on many of those platforms, noon Pacific time. And, of course, please do support the community sponsors you hear us telling you about. And keep it local.